make this. Oh, good. Good. Okay, we're recording.
Well, Mary Beth should be here too soon. She's on her way in, I think.
Okay.
Let me send her a message. She said she's on her way in.
Cool.
How's it going, man?
Oh, I have mixed feelings about this thing.
About what thing? This
What's
virus?
going on in the world? Yeah.
Yeah. I get it.
And we had so many discussions with all the guests. It's like some people say, what a perfect time to kick back and relax. Some people say go bananas and just build things, change things. I'm somewhere in the middle. Like, I think it's a perfect opportunity to get new things done. Like, I'm excited to hear what you guys are up to. And from both like dental business itself, but then the Buckeye and other things like surviving, right? Like really trying to prove to people that it's an essential service.
It is.
These things are exciting.
Yeah.
And then you also look at other people, how like dentists are sitting home and complaining they have nothing to do. You're like, maybe I should kick back and relax.
I don't get that. And I don't get the people who have like locked their doors and haven't been to the office in the past 3 weeks. Like, I know some people who have said, I locked the doors, I haven't been in. Like, I don't get that at all, because I've been there every single day for hours.
Just working or emergencies?
I am there, whether or not we see patients, I am there to protect my business. I am there to make sure that I'm a step ahead of whatever's happening. You know what I mean? I want to make sure that like I'm there in case someone calls. I want to make sure I'm there to solve a problem with a team member. Like, I'm obsessively there, probably too much, but I don't think it's a good time. I'm not kicking back at all. These people that are like, oh, I'm, enjoying all this time. I'm not that person. To me, none of this is relaxing. None of this is a vacation at all. But anyway, I guess we'll talk about that.
Yeah, I'm curious to learn about this.
There's my girl.
Mary Beth. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Can I tell you honestly that when you first, remember when I posted about the HR person on Instagram?
Yes. You
messaged back and I'm like, Mary Beth. I'm like, okay, cool, thank you. Then I was like, that's Mary Beth. I'm like, we gotta get you guys in on the live webinar. So I apologize for being slow. Like, I didn't connect the dots right away.
That's all right.
Yeah. All right. I want to make sure that even when I ask a question, how do you guys feeling? We're recording and we're streaming. So just very quick on this. We started probably around March 20th, we did our first live event. We started streaming right away. And that's a CE course for people that want to participate for about an hour, ask any questions. So usually the format is we're just going to go with a bunch of questions. And then I will start reading comments. So when I don't look at you guys and I look somewhere in a corner, like really awkwardly, that I'm just reading comments from people, okay? Just FYI. Yeah, and there's usually a lot of questions. We have a very live audience.
Good.
So I'm really excited. And especially people know you guys, so I'm pretty sure there'll be a bunch of questions.
Let's do it.
I'm clicking start button. I don't know if I need to, but my team told me I have to click that button. All right, everybody. So we finally have an amazing panel today. So Mary Beth and Missy Fryer. I don't want to give a very half-sided story about you guys. So I would love for you to share, even like how is it possible that we're all sitting together today? Like, how did you get in a dental? How did it happen that you went through so many life challenges to get to where you are? How did the businesses started? And the whole theme that we wanted to talk about today is preparing yourself for what life throws at you. And I can't imagine, probably the word qualified is the wrong word, like the more qualified people than you guys. But I'm super excited that, you can share the story specifically on when the life throws at you stuff and how do you overcome that?
Sure.
Well, Mary Beth, you want to go first?
Sure. As far as dental goes, I worked in a few dental offices, And my husband and I had our last daughter 3.5 months early, and this was when I was the business manager for a dental office. So I quit my job once she came home from the NICU. She needed me full time. She had physical therapy, occupational therapy, speech therapy, the whole thing. So I had to resign my position, and she became my full-time job. So during that time, we had gone from 2 incomes to 1. The stress of wanting to make sure that our daughter, was fine. And so I just did all kinds of research of what I could do from home. And a dental coach that I had connected with called me out of the blue and was like, I got an office in Michigan. I think you could train their front desk. So I started doing that when my daughter was napping in my basement on a phone, and it morphed into answering their phones on Fridays and working their insurance. And this was around the time where social media got huge, and I basically just social media'd the crap out of myself just to see if there was an interest. And it just grew from there. And that's the short version of Dental Support Specialties. So I met Missy on social media. She and I joke a lot that we're like sisters from another mother, and we connected, and we used our joint talents to create Buckeye Dental Productions, which, Missy, you can tell your story of your beginnings.
So I entered dentistry in the late 90s, kind of by accident. I just was finishing high school, and I needed to put myself through college, and I needed to get a new job, and I found this ad in the paper that, while I was looking for a job one day, and it, the ad said no experience necessary. So I was sold. And so I, contacted that office. It was a dental practice, and they were willing to hire someone that didn't have any, training or whatever. And I figured, okay, this has got to be, this has got to be better than what I was doing, and it could help me through college. And it did. Long story short, I was able to put myself through college, working in dentistry, got my teaching degree. And I remember in the beginning being a little uncomfortable with dentistry because I didn't have much training. I didn't really know what I was doing. But from day one, I was just sort of expected to do this really important job, which was handle, patients, be able to communicate with them, be able to assist with them. I had no idea what I was doing. It was awful. But I remember telling myself back then, that I had to just stick with it for at least a year, I didn't want to quit. I had to, at least do it for a year. And that was in 1997. So 23 years later, I'm still here. So anyway, I ended up really liking dentistry. And over time, what I've done is I've used what I know about teaching, and I've incorporated that into our practice because I'm married to a dentist now. I mean, dentistry is just in my blood, right? So, my husband and I have a practice in Cleveland, Ohio, and my job, I'm there all day, every day. And my job is to do whatever needs to be done, but also to work with our team to push them forward, to train, to all that good stuff. So I like to use my background of teaching and my experience of dentistry, and I kind of combine all that to really work with our team and to push our business forward. And a couple of years ago, Mary Beth came to me and she's like, why don't we put together all of our knowledge? She's like, between your teaching and your years and, Mary Beth's years and her added benefit of knowing, I know 23 years in my practice. She knows 20 years of a lot of practices all over the country. So she basically said, let's put together what we know about running a front office and let's create a manual. Let's do something fun. That's not a boring, textbook. Let's put together something that people can use, they can customize, and there you go. That's how we have the survival guides now.
Well, the name is definitely not boring. The Dental Survival Guide.
Yeah.
And if you guys remember, I'm always curious to hear the story. How did the actual conversation happen, that first one, right? So Mary Beth reaching out to you and saying what specifically, if you can remember?
I remember. So the original concept, and it's what we've created over the time has changed a little bit, which, you know, I would expect that. And initially, Mary Beth's concept was to have, I don't know if you guys can see this here, but
move it closer to you.
Was to like create like a day planner for front office. This is one of ours now. So basically she said, hey, let's create a planner where we can, you know, prompt offices when to do certain things in their office. In other words, she and I have both been thrown into dental positions where from day one, we were expected to like do the job well, right? We had no idea what we were doing. There was no way we were contributing to production. We weren't expressing value and having conversations. We were just like trying to get through the day without getting yelled at, you know? Mm-hmm. So her conversation with me is, what if we could give people a tool that actually told them what they needed to do? And what if we either did it day by day, week by week, you know, month by month? And I had like a sort of a manual at our office, but it had like procedural stuff, and it was like a very, very miniature scale of what we've done. So when she said that, I was like, that's a great idea. We need to like, you know, put together a bunch of tools for people that they could refer back to. So if they are new, they're not like us sitting there. Like I spent the first year in that dental office crying in the bathroom because I didn't know what I was doing. So we thought if we could, you know, Mary Beth said, what if we made something where from day one, people could know what needed to be done every Monday, could know what needed to be done every Tuesday? Genius, you know?
Well, I'm a planner person. I have planners for everything. My kids, my exercise, my work, my home, whatever. And, you know, one morning I was getting ready for work and it just hit me. I'm like, why don't we have a planner for dental? Because with what my company does, we have to be very systematic with what we do for our clients, whether we're helping them with insurance aging, AR, phone calls, scheduling. We have to have those systems in place. And I think when it comes to a new employee in a dental practice, whether it's an assistant or a front desk, they need that guidance. They may have the skills, they may even have some experience, but when it comes to plug and play into your office, what does that look like? It's different for every office.
It is. And I remember like when she and I were thinking about the topics that we would put in the books and all that, I remember thinking, you know, when I was new, what would I have wanted? You know, what things were never explained to me. And since Mary Beth and I both own dental businesses, from that owner's point of view, what things do I want my team members to know? I can't tell you how many times people ask me, you know, to convey a message to their team because they almost need to hear it from someone else, or they need to hear it from another owner. Mary Beth talks a lot about, you know, when you are, you know, looking for, if you're a dental assistant or a front office team member, if you're looking for another job, like you should really take a vested interest in that practice, right? You should know the business that you're going to. You should know something about them. And I just feel like there are no tools for team members, especially new ones, to get to know their office, to give them those soft skills, to give them more than just show up and answer phones. It's, hey, let's teach you about the doctor. Let's talk about where he or she went to school. Let's talk about what procedures we do in this practice and why, and which ones we don't do and why. Let's give them an education in the office first. Think about it. If you're a new team member and you're walking in and you know nothing about the office other than what you've seen on the website, how confidently are you going to be able to answer questions for patients? And if you don't look confident in front of a patient, they're going to be like, I'm not agreeing to give them all this money and do this. So it's really an education. Mary Beth and I are big believers in having an education for the whole practice, you know, and just being able to understand everything that's going on, not just how you do a filling or how you submit a claim. There's so much more to it than that.
Well, I think everybody in a practice should be able to answer patient questions of, do you do whitening? Every single employee should be able to answer that question. They should know how long it takes, what type they offer. You know, in one of our books, we have the 3 positive response rule on how to actually positively answer those questions and have the knowledge to answer those questions. You know, and there's times that, you know, even in the offices that we support, you know, you'll hear somebody answer the phone, a new employee, and new patient is like, do you do whitening? I don't know. I mean, there's no fluency, and that is so important to have with the knowledge, especially in today's age, when patients educate themselves before they call you.
Or especially with what's going on right now, you need to be educated.
Yeah, I think that the disconnect often comes from a doctor maybe working in his or her practice for decades and maybe mentally worlds away of, you know, where a new team member is at mentally as far as when they're coming in, what they know, what they don't know. You know, right now, speaking of what's happening in the world right now, we have a lot of doctors who are doing really cool things, printing out masks and trying to, you know, help the world. And that is amazing. And I look at them like these people are like gods. I mean, they're able to do all this. They're working at a completely different level. But on the other hand, what that means is if you have, you know, a new team member or someone new that hasn't been living in this environment or hasn't been working in your office for 20 years, they may not mentally be at that level because they haven't been exposed to it for as long as you have. So what I see is a lot of doctors who will, you know, ask their team members to do something. And then when it's not done the way they want or even at all, the doctor sometimes is a little bit upset. And I think to myself, well, putting it nicely, I'm married to a doctor. I know how upset they can get. But not
our Zen doctors, they're all cool.
No, of course. No, but I understand their frustration. But what they're missing is that bridge, that connection between, you know, here's what the expectation, the final outcome should look like, but here are the steps to do it. And Mary Beth and I are huge fans of here are the actual steps. So like when we write our survival guides, we don't tell people this is exactly how you do this thing for every single practice in all the land. Like, for example, we're huge on giving office tours, right? We cannot tell every office, this is your exact script, you know, for your office tour. But what we can teach people is, hey, an office tour is an important thing to do. Now, what you should do is you should highlight the things you should highlight what stands. Oh my gosh, I can't even talk right now. You should highlight the things that your office does differently, the things that make you stand out from other practices. So you now, as a group, write these things down or write them down in your own survival guide and create your office tour based on the things that set you apart. So I feel like what we're trying to do is we're trying to be that bridge between here's this ultimate thing that you should be doing, but here are some, you know, some tips on how to get there, but you got to fill in the blanks with what works for your practice.
So basically clearly outline the expectations and adding a sense of accountability into it.
Yes. Yeah.
So just quickly on this, because I don't think a lot of people listening right now or even watching this later, just to make sure we connect the dots. There are 2 survival guides, right? One for front.
There's a bunch of new ones, actually.
Which one did I miss?
So there is one for the front office now that we call systems and checklists. That is simply that. It's front office systems and checklists. Then we have the assisting book, Beyond Spit Sucking. And then we have a marketing book, which, by the way, all of these books get your team involved in doing things for the office. It's all about how you give your team the tools to be empowered and to do things in your practice. Because I shouldn't be the only one that's marketing things to our patients. I need my hygienists and assistants and all that. We also have a front office planner. That's what this one is here. It's called Digging for Gold. And that one teaches your front office team how to look for opportunity on the schedule every single day. So how you can look at a schedule and without adding any new patients, how you can get more production out of it. And I'm also working on one for assistants right now. Our printing company is on hold with the coronavirus. So we are sort of, you know, we have books printed, but we're waiting to print some more. We're on hold for that right now. But front desk, assisting, marketing, and then the front desk planner right now.
So 4 books available.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Are any of the checklists available online for download?
No.
Okay.
Because they are a huge component of our book, and we've worked very, very hard to put those together. They are
Respect
online.
that.
When you purchase the book, you have access to our website. You can download them there, but they are
Amazing.
they're not something that we are,
So we'll be able to
everyone.
link it up at the end to make sure that our people have access to the books and they can purchase them online, right?
Cool.
So
Thanks.
we'll include the links. Okay, perfect. So if right now, let's just say offices have 2 weeks before the opening, like some states more, some states less, but roughly, let's just say some states are saying until the end of the April. Right, exactly. I made a mistake last week on one of the webinars. I put the exact date out of my head, and I made a mistake, so I apologize. But the point is, if you would have a choice, which one would you start with?
Well, I would actually, I have 2 answers for that. I think it depends on where your need is in the office, but I think I would say if you have some holes in your front office, I would order our books and work on them with your team, but I would call Dental Support Specialties to help get you back on track and get ready. Mary Beth, I can you can speak to that, but that would be key.
Okay.
We are still working Dental Support Specialties and supporting clients. A lot of our clients have chosen to use this downtime for us to continue recovering their insurance aging, their account aging, and try to keep some of their cash flow moving in. And then with, like you said, the projected opening, hopefully within the next, what is it in Ohio, like 21 days, 22 days, God willing. We're really encouraging our clients, and they're having us pull their lists, pull their call list, their hygiene list, looking at the schedule that they had to cancel when crap hit the fan to get those patients back on the schedule. So those things, you can't wait until the day everything's lifted.
Yeah, right.
And then start on that day to prepare.
Yeah.
You need to prepare now, so when it actually happens, you can be ready to go.
Yeah.
So we're doing a lot of that stuff with the call list, the insurance verifications, making sure that, I'm sure a lot of patients' insurances have changed. If they went on unemployment, did they get to keep their insurance? I mean, there's going to be a whole nother layer of information that front desk are going to have to be really alert for.
Mm-hmm.
when we go back to reentry in the dental offices.
Yeah, and I saw you took a lot of active measures to help people. Like I think you launched special pricing during this time. So obviously you're trying to help offices to, take the time, take the advantage. And again, when we talk about these things, I just want to make it clear, especially, for those watching this 2, 3, 4 months down the road, we're not talking about if your state or city heavily affected and you can't go to the office. We're not sitting here and judging you. Like you just can't. Like that's it. You shut down, sit home, don't do anything. We're talking about the states that are a little bit more flexible, that you still, even if the office is closed, you're seeing emergency patients. In that case, you can still do some of the work. And that's the case that we're discussing, to take the time, take the advantage, take the downtime, and actually implement things. So I just want to make sure that we're all clear on that.
Yeah, I just talked to someone this, what day is it? Thursday. I talked to somebody. Yeah. No idea.
Sorry to interrupt. Do you feel more busy now? Like for some reason, when this whole thing started, do you feel more busier? And you don't even know what day it is?
I did initially, I think, because I was in my headspace was in such a crazy place that I felt like every day was the same. I think I'm getting a little better with that now, but yeah, I was like that too.
I mean, I think everybody's initial response was panic and despair, and how are we going to come out the other side of this? I know Missy and I had many conversations where we were both in the crapper and sad and cried and you know, we've got 52 employees that we're responsible for. And I think
Joint between the two businesses, right?
No, that's just her. We have 10 in my practice. She has 52 at Dental Support Specialties.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
We just, thank God my husband is the rock that he is. He's the calm to my crazy. So it took me a couple days, and after we had decided to implement our COVID relief pricing for our clients to help them out, to keep our specialists working as much as they could. And I had a day where I decided, you know, you can either come out of this better, the same, or worse.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to. I want to be better when I come out. So I've been reading books. I've been watching webinars. You know, the family connection. You know, you know, with your kids and your husband, and it's like, well, we can either like hate each other by the time we're done, or we can kind of like each other a little bit more. So I think what everybody's dealing with now is this pause that we're all on, and we don't know when it's going to end. And it's just human nature to, you know, we don't have the control over that. So I'm trying to control the things I can control. And that is learning how to be better, learning how to make DSS better. So when we come out of this, we can help our clients better. You know, Missy and I she's already been hard at work updating the book. So I think that we just need to calm down. I think that everybody really needs to use this time to somehow make themselves better.
Mm-hmm. Simon Sinek said an interesting phrase about this. He said, "It's not how we get through this. It's how do we change to get through this."
Yes.
Right.
I love that. Yes.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty powerful. So
yes,
I think, and there's another doctor actually in Chicago. He posted on Instagram something like, if you come out of this quarantine without any CEs or a side hustle or a new business or something, it's not that you didn't have time before. You never had discipline to do it.
Yes,
right.
Exactly.
Right.
The first couple of days, my mental state didn't allow me much discipline. It really didn't.
I think that's fair. You know,
we were panicked, and now, you know, we're calmed down, and we're going to have a struggle just like every other office. Now, what I do believe, you know, I know that Missy had mentioned this earlier today about the doomsayers and crap.
I'm tired of those people on Facebook that are.
I deleted Facebook March 20th. It was gone from my phone.
I am so tired. I didn't mean to interrupt, but I'm so tired of people who are just spouting what like they think is going to happen, or because and even if it does, like, it's just not helping right now. I know so many people who are struggling mentally through all of this right now. And for them to read that stuff, it's not helping it's actually harming some very close people to me. And I wish they would stop. And I defriended some people today blocked a few because I was like, I can't even anymore. I can't even like, no one knows what's going to happen. So just chill out, you know.
I'm going to throw out a little bit of peace to maybe this will make one dentist, one office feel a little bit better. We're still handling a lot of our clients' phones. There are patients who are pissed off that they cannot get in for a dental appointment. I don't know where they live. I don't know what rock they're living under. But from what we see, and I'm not saying that you're going to open up the door and bam, all this lost production is going to be in your schedule and in your pocket. But if you're prepared correctly, which my husband's always telling me I'm in the perpetual state of preparedness, but if you're prepared, what's going to happen, you know, they need to be looking at their schedule for the rest of the year. If you have vacations and time off and everything else, you might want to look at opening those days up.
That's what we did.
The week of Christmas, my God, all the kids are going to be home and all the teachers are home. Open up a couple days.
Right.
Be prepared to, because the patients that you schedule have to go somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing that I think some people are missing is you most likely still have patients on your schedule. You most likely still have hygiene patients on the schedule for 4 months out, and some treatment patients. And the opportunity is going to be there.
Yeah.
And it's all in how you handle it now until you open.
So I want to add to that, because right when we were shut down in Ohio, I told my front office team to start making calls 1 week at a time and reschedule those patients, reschedule them, not cancel, not just close down the doors or put a message on the machine. I said to them, as long as they're still on the schedule, even if we have to call them again in a month and switch it, I don't care. But as long as they're still on the schedule, I still have a business. I don't care. So I wanted them to say, it was very deliberate. I said to tell them that we were mandated to reschedule their appointment and to make sure that we rescheduled it, but also to let them know that we're going to be there for emergencies. We're not leaving them. That whole thing will be, they can call and they can talk to me every day, that kind of thing. People have been so appreciative. People have been, oh, thank God, I need to get my teeth cleaned. So yeah, I definitely, want to come back. I've had 0 patients, 0. And we've rescheduled hundreds of people. I've had 0 people be jerks about any of this stuff. Everyone's been so understanding. They've been sympathetic. This is behavior that is, it's amazing. And so I'm not worried about that. The other part of this is we've only so far been shut down for 3 weeks, Mary Beth, or whatever, about 3 weeks. Mm-hmm. So this has only affected 3 weeks of patients. If I have 6 months, I have 24 weeks of patients, and then I see them again, right? Am I doing the math right?
Something like that.
Yeah. So 3 weeks out of 24 weeks of people so far. Now I know this could, we're hoping May 1st. Who knows? But it could potentially be maybe 2 months worth of people. So there are 4 months of people on my schedule that are none the wiser that we would have really been going through this. We had a woman who called today who has been in the hospital for other ailments for months. And she called today and she said, I want to get into the next week or two. She's totally oblivious to that we can't even see her. So I think part of the problem I'm seeing is that us in the dental world, all of our friends work in dentistry. It's all we talk about is dentistry. And all we are focused in is ourselves. And that's not always a bad thing, except when we are freaking ourselves out, when we are refusing to see things from someone else's point of view, and that we're so, we're so we believe so much that everything is going to change and it's going to be terrible and all this, because that's all we're being inundated with. We are not thinking about it from our patient's perspective. I asked 3 people this past week, what was their perception of going to the dentist after this? And they were legitimately really confused as to why I would even ask them that. They're like, what do you mean? I'm like, well, would you be afraid to go to the dentist after all this? They're like, no. They could not put the pieces together that it seems like maybe the media or maybe by inadvertently in our own fears, us dental professionals are creating something and we are scaring ourselves into all of these big changes, because the public is not completely getting it the way that we do, so if there was, I'm happy with how our team has responded. I'm happy with my team and that, how they've been able to get through all of this. I want us all to be better when this is all said and done. I agree. I want us to all be better, because the way I look at it, when this is all said and done, there's either going to be the same amount of businesses in the world as when this started, or there's going to be less. There's probably not going to be more. So we've got to fight like hell, do all the right things, not put fear into people's minds, not put fear into our patients, not put fear into our team members, and let them know that when this is all said and done, we will be fine. We may have to make some changes. So what?
A little bit harder.
We made changes after 9/11. There were changes made after AIDS. There were changes. Maybe it's me being naive or hopeful. I don't care. All I know is that none of those decisions are being made right now, that everything is very fluid, and that until we know some concrete things, everyone needs to calm down a little, and we'll figure it out.
And to tag on to that, your patients are not out looking for a new dentist.
No.
They're not. I mean, they're coming back.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, it may be different. You might have to fight a little bit harder. I think another thing that offices need to look at this point in time, especially with not knowing if patients still have dental insurance, how that's going to look at the end, none of us know. I think now is a really great time for them to look at implementing like the quality dental plan in the offices, so they have a little bit more control. I know Missy's the same way as I am. The more control I have over something and I can predict, I feel a little bit better.
Yes.
But it's a great time to investigate those opportunities, to prepare yourself that when you're making those calls to schedule patients and the patient's like, I don't have insurance right now, I got laid off, or it won't be kicked in until the end of the month. What a great opportunity to say, you know what?
That's okay. We offer a great plan
for you. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah. Where do you think offices will have to start with all of this? Do you think there's going to be a resource, or are we going to rely on a dentist to do all the research of all the things that we discussed to start implementing these things? Because most people, what I think is going to happen, again, not our Zen offices, but I think most offices are going to be sitting until, what's the last week of April? Like 20th, 23rd. Mm-hmm. We get a notice that May 1st we get back to work, hopefully. And then it'll be like, so now I have new infection control requirements. I have all this new stuff. I have to do all this sterilization new requirements that probably going to come out. I've been talking about this. And then on and on and on. And then we get to front desk and things like that. So what do you think is going to happen? Like, is it somebody going to put a one resource page for somebody, or dentists would be left on their own to figure this out?
I think that ultimately it's going to be a state by state thing. I think everyone's going to have different regulations. I know our governor, DeWine, has become a little famous through all this because he was sort of the first to kind of lay the hammer down with some of this. And again, rules are changing and, all this sort of daily. But I think that it's going to be a state by state thing. I know the Ohio Dental Association has been, updating us pretty regularly with emails and whatnot, letting us know what's going on. I think that if you're the kind of office that's locked your doors and you haven't stepped foot in there for 3 weeks and you haven't been paying attention, you're going to be in trouble. But I think if you're at least paying attention to what's happening in your state and you're thinking ahead, and that's part of the reason why I'm at the office every day, whether or not we're seeing patients, whether or not even if Kevin comes with me, I want to go there. I want to keep an eye on what's happening in our state. I want to keep an eye on what patients, what their needs are, what their questions are. I don't want to be completely removed from that and then go in and be like, crap, I didn't know this, or so whether, we're kind of running a skeleton crew right now. So even with those employees, we're still working on some things, and we have big ideas for when they say we can open. Same thing. Shortly before then, we have great, that we have podcasts and webinars that Kevin's been cataloging, so we can show our team, so we can talk about these things. I have completely cleaned out, reorganized that office. Everything is never looked better, because when we come back, we're going to be extra busy, and I want everything ready to go. I'm ordering, new supplies, new instruments. Well,
that's what I was going to say. Now
is the time to do it.
Office, there should be assistants in there, making sure that supplies are up to date, that everything's clean, everything's organized, ready to go. The list that I'm talking about, on top of treatment list of patients that you had to reschedule, hygiene patients that you had to reschedule, you also need to look, like in Missy's office, I'm sure you have some Invisalign cases that are going to be, get on the schedule, maybe crown cases, there are so many things. You have to make sure the cases are in. You have to make sure where everything's at, and make sure that everything from the day you re-enter your practice, that it's fluent. And if you wait until the day that we are given our freedom, then you are going to be way behind the 8 ball.
Those things are still coming in. I mean, I've got lab cases coming in all the time. I've got, things that I've ordered. There's still stuff coming in. And if I wasn't there, or someone wasn't there to put it in the right place or track the lab case or do whatever, we would come back to an insane schedule and just a crap ton of stuff all over the place to try to sift through. And I don't want to do that to my team, and I don't want to do that to Kevin, and I don't want something to get missed, and I don't want some patient to feel, even if their case comes in and we can't see them, I still want to call them and get them on the schedule, and I still want to,
Exactly.
I still want to push forward every day. And I don't know, that's important to me.
Offices that literally just shut their doors, and that's fine. Like you said, Tiger, I'm not judging anybody.
Yeah. But
on the money side of that, I would venture to say that your insurance aging report is not clean. Mm-hmm. That's money. You can call in and resubmit the claims, whatever you need to do to get that money coming in. Not to mention making sure that the patients on the next couple weeks of first open are verified. And who the heck is posting your payments?
Yeah.
Are you not checking your mail? Do you have checks that are just sitting there? You're going to wait until whenever it comes to actually post those payments and deposit those funds? To me, in what we do, that is so important to make sure that when you open up, that you're not going to be looking at a big giant mess.
Yeah.
It's going to be a stressful mess if you don't start now.
Yeah. Well, I hope people at least look at the mirror. If you're looking at the big giant mess, you'll see the person who created it. So pretty much and that's what I said. I talked to one doctor offline and we had a pretty long conversation, and I was empathetic to what he was saying. He's like, look, we've been on a treadmill for so long, and starting from school, then high school, then college, then dental school, then associateship, then own the practice, then the loans and the debt. And now we finally forced to take a whole month off, like either you want it or not. He's like, I am taking a full advantage of that because in a month, I'm going to come back to the treadmill and going to be back at it again. And I was listening. I'm like, you know what? That makes sense to me. Like if that's your choice and you're consciously making that choice, but at the same time, even the way he did it, his team is full involved. They're doing video calls every morning. The team is doing insurance verification. So even if he is not fully involved, the team is involved and the team is fully up and running.
And he doesn't necessarily have to be. I think that anything that's happening at the office, if you're not seeing patients, your team should be able to do. So even if Kevin's not there every day. Yeah. I mean, I'm there more often than he is right now. And that's fine. I want to make sure that in our office that our employees are going to come back and that they're okay right now. I want to make sure that our patients are going to come back, but that they're okay right now. I want to make sure that the business is going to come back, but that it's okay right now. That's from the moment this started. That's all that's been on my mind is our patients, our employees, and the business. And unless you own a dental practice or unless you work with, dentists or you work in a dental office, maybe you don't understand that. Some of my friends who don't work in dentistry, I don't know that they completely understand that, but that's what's been important, to me. And how I do that and how anyone does that just really depends on who you are and about your practice. I don't think that the doctors should have to go in every day. I don't think that the team has to be there every single day. Maybe you rotate people or maybe, whatever, but I think you have to keep a foot into it. But I also think that this is a great time, a forced time to learn about ourselves and to learn about our business. And I've had so many people say that they have learned that they want to work less or that they want to work more or that they don't want to work in dentistry at all anymore. And I think that if it weren't for this opportunity, and I'll call it an opportunity, they may not have ever realized that. And I think whatever you decide, it has to come from you and you do.
What was the conversation of people that said that they don't want to be in dentistry anymore? I'm just curious.
That they realize that they don't miss it. That they realize that not having that stress every day is, when you are so used to being in that environment every day and you just take it and take it and take it, this particular friend of mine said, you know what, I think I could do without it, and so we'll see what's going to happen. But I don't know that, he would have realized that had he, not had this opportunity to kind of step away for a little bit, and maybe he'll stay in it. I don't know, but I think that people are finding out things that, they're going to use to make a better change, I hope, I
think the self-reflection that has come from this, you can make it better for yourself. You really can. And, I was talking with my daughter yesterday. We went for a long walk about life and whatever. And I said, one of the things that I'm learning, especially in watching all the political bashing and all the doomsayers and, the bickering and, emotions are at all-time high. They just are. And I just told her, I said, what I'm realizing for myself is it's not about who's right. It's not about who's wrong. It's about how we can come together and make it better. And that's really what I'm trying to do for myself, for my business, for my team, for my family, with Missy and our business. And, like Missy said, this time truly is an opportunity. Mm-hmm. We can look at it as the worst thing that's happened in our life. I pray to God for everybody's health. I'm so sorry for anybody that this has affected. It just makes me horribly sad. My mother is in a nursing home, and I'm scared crapless every day for her health. Mm-hmm. My poor dad hasn't been able to see her in 4 weeks, and it breaks my heart, but she's safe right now, Mm-hmm.
That's the most important.
My dad's even making the best of it. We keep sending him puzzles. Mm-hmm. So,
yeah.
Funny
I agree
story,
with you.
He did a 500-piece puzzle, was so proud of himself, took a picture, was missing a piece. He was so upset. Put the puzzle back in the box. The next day, he was cleaning off his kitchen table, lifted up a placemat. There was the piece.
Oh, no.
So now I have to do it again.
At least he's busy.
Yes, at least he's busy, and we bug him all the time with FaceTimes and that. But what Missy said this morning in social media just hit me so much that you can't follow the doomsayers. You just can't. Whoever you follow is going to be your frame.
Yeah, right.
So it is an opportune time, and you need to really look at what's happening today and what forward progress you can make every day to make that reentry day the best that it can be.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. Yeah, Missy.
No, I was going to say, sorry, Mary, I don't know if you realize Mary Beth and I could just talk for hours and hours. You have to cut us off sometimes.
I'm enjoying. Yeah, exactly. Well, that was the whole purpose. Because
you should see when we get on the phone together. My God.
Like 2 hours after, 2
hours and after.
Yeah.
That was perfect, Mary Beth. I really appreciate you saying this. Like I said, a lot of times we, even probably Missy, you and I, pretty similar. We want to get things done. We're running, and we want to go, but we don't. And even like planning the opening, reopening, and things like that, we don't take into consideration that it's affecting people's lives and health. And I think at least for my team, we talk about this. It's just the thought of being grateful that we're healthy and mm-hmm. everybody around us are healthy. It's like, that's the blessing from the beginning.
Yeah.
Right. So let's just not take that for granted. And then from that standpoint, we're just going to keep adding on and keep working on what we can do and how to get prepared and get ready for whatever is next.
Yeah.
But I think everybody's struggling with uncertainty. Something about the naysayers and doomsday and all that. Mm-hmm. Don't you think we need a little bit of that too? Like, what we're going to do without people like that?
I mean, I think that if something bad, were to happen, then fine, say it. But I think, and it's okay for some people to say that, but when it's affecting other people so negatively, when you have friends who are like really, really, really in a bad place, and like, that personally, that I start to get angry about some of the people who are saying that, dentistry is dead or whatever. When I see these things said over and over, and I know that I have some friends who are like really mentally struggling through all this, it made me angry this morning. And that's why I posted what I posted, because I've got too many people that I care about in my life who are believing everything. And you can't believe everything. If you can believe that something is going to be that bad, then you also have to believe that it could be that good. Like, you can't just,
exactly.
You know what I mean? And you've got to hope that it's going to meet somewhere in the middle. And that's, if I woke up every day and thought it was going to be the end of the world, then what good is that? Even if it is, even if this is the end of dentistry and I got to find a new career, if that's what I'm forced to do and I have no choice in the matter, then that's what I'm forced to do. I have no choice in the matter, you know?
Yeah.
That, you know, what hit me, you know, that finally snapped myself out of everything was I can only control what I can control. I can't control the day it's going to open. I can't control, you know, what the insurance companies are going to do. What I can control is what I do, what effort I put in. I can control the phone calls I make. I can control the payments that I post. I mean, there's a lot of offices that haven't sent statements at all, you know, and it's like, okay, I'm not sure why. You know, in all of our statements, we put a dunning message that, you know, if you can't make your payment at this time, we completely understand. These are unsure times for everybody. Give us a call. We'll make it, you know, we'll do whatever we can to help you. But they basically stopped, like just stopped their entire practice. And again, I don't want to judge anybody, but I think the fear, the initial fear that we all felt happened that way. And control what you can. You can control the fact that you're going to make yourself better, or your team better, or your knowledge better, or your supply base better, or your inventory better, or your organization better. Yeah. I re-condoed everything in my freaking house. Like, I have kitchen towels that are rolled up now, and I'm like,
and that brings you joy, right?
Does it spark joy?
You know what? I went through a closet the other day. I'm like, joy? Nope. I mean, seriously, it's my way of controlling something within myself.
I think that's why I'm at the office. I think at one point I was there for 14 days in a row, like 10, 12 hours a day, even like over the weekends, even when I was the only one there, just because it helped me to, number one, keep moving. If I stopped or was home or was, you know, talking about something terrible with people, that's going to put me in a bad space. But I thought, at least if I'm here, this still exists and I'm still moving and I can do some of the things I want to do here that I'm not able to do when there are 10 people here and, you know, 40 patients and we're running around and, you know, all this kind of thing. So I did the same thing at our office. It just felt really good. It was cleansing. It was cathartic. It was, you know, it was just good to be there and to try to, you know, to do whatever I could to make it a better place. And you controlled what you could. Yeah, right. About all the stuff I have no control over. Right. I tried to narrow it down and just control what I can.
Yeah. Let's just say, as we start wrapping this up, a couple of things that I'm super curious about. When we do hear the message of, all right, hopefully it is whatever, let's just throw it out there like May 1st or whatever that might be, right? So, like, I know Missy's like, let's go. Like, what that's going to look like? Like, what are you, just give us the steps. Are you calling back the team first? Like, what's going to go through the mind? And Mary Beth, the same for you. Like, what's going to go through your mind?
What's going to go through my mind is bringing our team back as we reabsorb our client base. We've kept a lot of our clients. A lot of them closed their doors and paused, and they're like, when we open. What I've been trying to do is keep in constant communication with the clients, kind of give them the step-by-steps. Hey, this is what you should be looking at now. These are the reports you should be running. These are, you know, look at your schedule for the rest of the year, you know, have your team deciding, you know, come school time, what are you going to market? I mean, you have to keep that mentality. It's like some people just stopped, like everything. Mm-hmm. So I have to do the same thing, Joey and I. Joey is on top of when we will reabsorb the team members. And, you know, we've already got clients on the schedule for May. So we just want to make sure that we know exactly what their expectations are, how best we can help them. And I would imagine probably starting next week, especially because we continue that COVID pricing, I would expect that next week we'll probably start a lot of phone calls. We've had a lot of inquiry calls lately. I'm not sure where they're coming from, but they're like, I don't know what to do. Can you help me? And all I can say is we'll help the best we can. I pick Missy's brain a lot. I have a couple consultant friends that, if it's detailing with like the PPP loans and all that stuff, I can direct them to the consultants to help them with that information as well. So we're just, our main goal is to make sure that you got money coming in and people on the schedule. So that's going to be where we start.
So for us, we've been in communication with all of our team members every single day. So we have 3 that are still there now, and then we have the rest that are, we had a couple who were working from home for a while. They were doing they were generating like newsletters for the rest of the year. They were working, from home. They were logging in and creating newsletters, all kinds of, great content. So now I don't have to do it for the rest of the year. I could just hit a button and send those things off. So we've had some people working from home. We've had a couple working at the office, and there were a couple that, went on unemployment after the first week or so. So we've been in contact with everyone, and our plan is to, if we can see patients on Monday, then they're all going to be coming in that week before. And, like I said, Kevin has so many, as he's been listening to every single possible podcast and webinar. I can't not keep up with him, but he has a great list of things that he wants to review with our team. I have a giant list at the office that I've been writing on our whiteboard of things that changes that I've made, new systems for our lab cases and this and that. So we definitely need to have, probably a couple days of meetings to talk about these things, to listen to these podcasts, to kind of get everyone back into the groove of things. But I think our daily communications have been helpful to kind of keep them in the loop with some things, because, there have been a lot of changes in 3 weeks, and I want them to be ready for that when they come back. A couple of them have been amazing. They're like, you know what? This is my vacation. I know I had one scheduled later on this year. Just cancel that. We'll consider this my vacation time. And I know we're going to be busy, in May or June when we're back. So I just, I'll work. So they're already kind of in the frame of mind that we're going to be swamped and busy, and they're going to come to work, ready to put in some extra hours, ready to have kind of a crazy schedule. And we'll just take it from there, one day at a time until we get to that point.
Yeah. And then imagine you put yourself 10 years from now. So that's going to be April, March 2030. Right? And we're looking at it now with a 10-year perspective. Mary Beth, let's start with you. What are you going to remember about this time, or what you're going to take with you?
In 10 years, when I look back at this time, I hope that I look back and truly embrace it for the soul-changing effects that it had on me. And that I, even not just my business, but I'm hoping that we handled it right, we handled it smart, we handled it with our hearts and being caring and loving, and just hope that I myself made a difference for somebody, that I made it better for somebody.
That's amazing. Missy?
On the other hand, if you ask them in 10 years what this was about.
10 years, I think back to when we had the recession. I think back to 9/11. I think back to those days of panic and uncertainty. And, we didn't know what was going on. Our patients didn't know, the world, didn't know. And this is obviously is very similar, different, but it's, similar to all that. And I look back to, some of the business changes that we made, post the recession. We certainly, we introduced QDP at that time because people were losing insurance, and that actually ended up working out really, really well for us. People appreciated that we had that plan. I think back to 9/11 and some of the changes that we had to make as human beings and bosses and at that time too. And so I know that there will be changes, and I know that we'll have to, we'll deal with them just like we've always dealt with them. I hope that 10 years from now, I will, I know I'll be able to handle it, because if we can get through this, you can get through anything. But I hope that I can always remember, what it sort of felt like to go through this, and to, remember that whatever I've learned out of this, that I'm still behaving that way. In other words, the way that I'm really, caring for my team, the way I'm really concerned about our patients, and the way that our patients are concerned about us. Like when the days get tough, or as time has gone by, I don't want to forget those things. I want to remember that, wow, that patient that kind of is a little mean, she was really nice today asking how we were doing. I want to remember, that we will get through it, that, yes, there will be changes, that will be okay. And that, that we got through it. That's really, I just want to be like, you know what, that sucked, but we did it just like we've done it, times before.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so powerful. We had a discussion on this yesterday, and on Monday, and the person said, it's not so much what's going on, it's about how we're communicating right now. Mm-hmm. And another belief that I have is the tough times are not really changing people, they're really exposing, especially those in their leadership positions.
Yeah.
And so I really hope in 10 years people look back and they can look back and say, it was tough, but the best part, it was tough for everybody, not just for me.
Right.
And I didn't lose my dignity going through this.
Yes.
Right. I think that people's true characters are coming out. I think if you're a fearful person in general, you're going to be a really, really fearful person now. I don't think people are really showing their true characters. And it's, in some ways, it's good. You see people that are rising and emerging and being comforting people to be around. And you see others that I'm questioning who they are at their core, because I'm just seeing some of the behaviors and attitudes. And, you really get to see who people are. Listen, I have not been great this whole time. Ask Kevin. He will certainly tell you we have gotten into 1 or 2 or 12 fights about, all of this. I get it. But I also, I think it's normal to go through it and then work through it and apologize and to be a better person and to learn from it and move on. And it's just all about that growth. And, right now I want to be a little bit better today than I was yesterday. I want to be a little bit stronger, a little bit wiser, and then, keep moving in that direction.
That's amazing. Any parting thoughts? How can people get a hold of you, or in books? Obviously, we'll link them up. Mary Beth, hopefully we can include the link to your service. I know you're doing a great job helping dental offices. Anything else you want to tell our Zen audience?
I don't know.
Well, our website is buckeyedentalproductions.com. That's where we have our books. When you, if you do get Systems and Checklists, our major front office book, you do get immediate website access to all of our videos, and there are forms to download there once you've purchased the books. So, if you want to include that, I appreciate that. I also, not just because Mary Beth is a dear friend of mine, but my office uses Dental Support Specialties 3 days a week to answer phones on our busiest days, and we love them. I mean, we started using them. Well, we've used them in the past, and then more regularly over a year ago. And as soon as all this picks back up again, we are picking right back up with all that as well. So, I just think that they're amazing. They've done well for us. The associate that Mary Beth has at Dental Support who works for our practice is like a member of our team. My team loves her. We just consider her another member of our team that just happens to not be in the office. So anyway, I love DSS. Cannot say enough about them.
And our website is www.dentalsupportspecialties.com. And Missy made a code.
Oh, yes, I did. We made a Zen code for our Buckeye Dental Productions website. We're offering 10% off anything in our store if you use the coupon code ZEN. How about it?
Amazing. Irina, please link it up so I know that Irina and my team is listening. And I think I was just thinking about it. Mary Beth, I would love to bring you at some point when we get through this whole thing, just to talk about your business, but I want to know the like specific how you built it, because I know your team is here, US based, right? So like, how do you think about planning the pay structure? Because it's not like, it would have been so much easier to outsource it and things like that. So I want to talk about these things. I would love to bring you back and have a full story of your business. So ladies, thank you so much. I appreciate the positive energy. I appreciate the smiles and all the positive energy that you brought. And I really hope that it was a good discussion for everybody else to hear. And, you know, hopefully in 10 years, we're going to look back and smile.
Yes. Thanks for having us.
Thank you for having us. We appreciate it.
Of course. It was awesome. Thank you, guys. We'll talk more.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Bye.
thank you.